When was the last time you cried?
So the last
A
time,
good cry.
man,
Like an hour ago. Yeah.
Yesterday.
I would say I haven't had any catastrophic things lately, thankfully.
probably tears of joy, actually. I was in traveling with a friend, and we were I think in Switzerland, just recently, maybe like last week. I grew up in LA, like in a pretty rough neighborhood. I never thought I would have made it. I'll be traveling the world, so.
Yeah, it's just been a very emotionally charged morning.
So how does it make you feel when you see someone crying in front of the camera? Is it ew or cringe or she's just looking for attention? I mean, up until today, we still hear phrases like man up, stop being a baby, or big boys don't cry. So we know that the stigma around crying is still very much present. We still associate the expression of this emotion as something to be ashamed of, as something that makes us weak.
At least for me growing up, it was like, yeah, boys don't cry. Like if you fall down, scrape your knee, like get up, like stop crying, like be tough, so definitely I was taught to not cry,
Growing up in a Hispanic culture, like crying is kind of made fun of almost, and I don't want to generalize. It's just like kind of like how I grew up. I wouldn't like. It's not the stereotypical like, oh, it's a sign of weakness. It's more like people generally don't do that in my family, and so I was never really taught by example that was a thing that you could do. It wasn't until probably like teenage years that I started being open to that idea.
Why are we so uncomfortable emotionally when we see someone crying? Or some of us don't want to cry. And maybe it reminds us of what we could look like in those vulnerable moments. And being vulnerable is, or can be, scary. But in my opinion, being able to embrace those moments actually make us brave.
But now things have changed. I feel people are more open to, at least for men, to be able to show their emotions and cry. There's more of a mental health, focus. I mean, just society in general has kind of opened up, and it's allowed me as a man, or also just as a man of color, to be able to express myself and not have to be tough all the time, to just let things out. So that's been my personal experience.
So many people push it down. They don't want to cry. They don't want to feel it. But when you let yourself just feel it, that's how you process, That's how humans are supposed to feel emotions.
Crying and releasing tears isn't just an emotional release. It is actually a bodily function that is very much necessary when it comes to regulating toxins in our body. Our tears literally contain stress hormones, and releasing the tears helps to reduce the level of these stress hormones in our body. On top of that, shedding emotional tears even releases oxytocin and endorphins, and these chemicals have the ability to ease emotional and physical pain. How do you usually feel after a good cry?
Very relaxed. It's emotionally freeing, but also physically. After that, kind of just you realize how much you've had, how tense your body has been. Yeah.
So much release. I feel so good. I just feel when there's a weight off your shoulders, that you can just through a good cry, that you can really just push out all the gunk and really feel a weight has been lifted off of me.
I usually am really good about keeping myself in check. And I think moments where I get to the point of crying doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. It's just we should have been checking on ourselves a little bit more carefully.
Yeah, my sister passed from cancer a couple of years ago. And I don't think I really processed it too much. I kind of just kept going. See, she made me this painting that glow in the dark paint. So when you turn off the lights, part of it glows up. So at night, when I shut off the lights to go to sleep and I saw it light up, that's when that triggered me. It's oh man, all these emotions flooded to me, to the surface, but I just let it, released it. And it felt good. It was a really good cry. It felt like a really good, a good release and good healing therapy in a way, just letting it process it and let it go, because I didn't realize I had been like kind of carrying it around like for so long.
I think that it's a part of processing emotion. I think there's emotions kind of run in a bell-shaped form. Like you start with where you feel it, and you feel it sometimes by yourself. And at like the pinnacle, it's awful and it sucks, but like you have to process it. And then there's that downward slope where you start to feel better, and hopefully you've processed it not by yourself, but with someone else who makes you feel safe.
If I feel like I'm in a safe place or in an atmosphere of people who I feel comfortable to really just be vulnerable and be real with, then I can feel those emotions.
It is more of a feeling of just openness and honesty with other people about like what they're going through, what we're going through. It's a very unifying way to kind of get that across, yeah.
Maybe many of us have been told to stop crying, either by our parents or the adults around us. So much that a lot of us have forgotten about how to cry. I like to think of crying as exercising our emotional muscles. And of course, sometimes it requires a safe space for someone to feel like they're able to do so. So the next time when you sense that a person is in need of that safe space, try to be that special someone who tells them it is okay to not be okay.